Hi guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be creating this layout, this website layout here. You can see we've got this nice animation in the hero section, and I've kind of just taken inspiration from this website I found from awards recently. I really like it. They've it's a really cool effect, I think, so I just really wanted to recreate this and show how it would be done with vanilla JavaScript. So we've got the same kind of pattern occurring here. You can see we're using linear interpolation to make it a nice smooth animation. Also, when we it's showing you how to lay out the website as well. You can see here, obviously we've got a width of 90% for smaller screens, but if you're on a wide screen, you can see the site goes nice and centered. Again, like this website in awards, we have this project section where we're using the sticky attribute. So we get like these project tabs, like so, and then we have like a footer section here. So it's just how to make this kind of simple or this cool layout. I really like this kind of tiling effect. We can see where they're layered on top of each other, these project tabs. Okay, but yeah, the main idea was just to get this kind of circle animation. I think it's pretty cool, and this will show you how to implement that with vanilla JavaScript. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it, and yeah, let's get going. Thanks. Okay guys, so to get started, you can see I've just got the three usual files. So we've got an index.html, a style.css, and an app.js file here. We'll go into the index.html file first, and I'll just emit some boilerplate code here. I'll just put the title, we'll just say circles for now. And then in the header, I'm going to link to our app.js file, like so, app.js, and then in the body, we'll just come down to we'll do a script source here, and we'll just do app.js. And sorry, that should be style.css, not app.js in the header. Style.css, like so. Okay, so now if we come into the body section here, first thing we're going to do here is just create a section. This is going to be like the hero section. And then in here, we're just going to have a div of a class of header. This is going to be our nav bar basically. And that is going, or in here, we're just going to have a container. So we'll say header _ container. And you'll see why we're using the container shortly. And then in this container, we're just going to have a logo. So div of a class of logo. And then in here, I'll just put h1. And this would be like a logo or the name of the website. I'm just going to put circles. Okay, and then underneath this, underneath the logo, we're just going to say here, we want a nav bar, so nav element, and then we're just going to do an unordered list, and then li for list element, and here I just have home. Let's copy this down 3 more times, just say, just like any random links you want really. For the purpose of this tutorial, we'll just go home about projects, blog, whatever. Or we'll say contact, like so. Okay, so if we just let's open this in live server so we can see what we're dealing with. Okay, get rid of those. Okay, so there's our logo and nav bar so far. Just minimize this a little bit. And then, so the next thing I want to do here is we're going to come out of this section here, out of this div, sorry, so out of the header div, and then we're going to have a div of a class of circle _ container. Okay, this is where our little kind of circle animation hero sections go in, and then in here we're going to have a div with a class of vertical _ line, like so. And then we also want to do the same for the horizontal line. This is going to produce that the cross we see on the in the hero section. So I'll just say horizontal, like so. And then underneath this, we're going to have a div of a class of circle _ container _ inner, like so. And then this is basically just going to house our 5 circles that we see on the screen. Okay, so the first one we're going to use is a div of a class called circle. So we'll just do that. Spell that right. Circle. And I'm just going to just duplicate this down 1, 2, 3, 4 more times because there's going to be 5 circles here. This first one will be basically our middle circle. So I'm just going to add another class here, say middle _ circle. And then here we're going to say circle _ 1. And then we'll just use the same for the remaining 3 circles here. So just say, make that 2. And then come in here, 3, and finally 4. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the hero section here. So I'm going to come out from underneath this section, and then we're just going to now create the project, or the sticky project section. So to do that, we're just going to say, we're going to give this a class, this section here actually, of sticky _ section, like so. And then in here, I'm just going to have a div. So we'll say a class of plain, like so. And I'm just going to give this a class of plain 1. Okay, and then in here, in this plane, we're just going to have a container. So this is going to be the container that houses the content within this project section. And basically we're using these containers just because we're going to need to create some white space when we expand our screen size, because we want to limit the width of our website basically. So because for example, if we're showing a website on a really wide screen, we'll need to center the content and have the adequate white space to each side of the content. You'll see what I mean shortly. So in this container, I'm just going to have h1 here, and I'll just say project 1, like so. And you can see that's come on our web page there. And then we're going to do a break element, like so. And then just add that in. And here we're just going to have a P with we'll just use some lorem text here, so a paragraph element. Okay, so the next thing we want to do here is we basically just want to I guess just duplicate this this plain div here. We'll do that a couple more times. We'll just have 3 projects showing. Okay, so I'll say 2. I'll give that again, rename this 2 as well. Project 2, and we'll rename this class to 3 here as well, and of course project 3. Okay, cool. So that's looking okay. The next thing we need to do here, I might take them breakpoints out actually. It looks a bit, there's too much space. Okay, let's take them out for now. Okay, cool. So now what we want to do here, I think there's just one more section here. So we'll just, underneath this section, we'll just say section, and I'll just call this, we'll just give this a class of footer for now. This is just going to allow us to scroll past that sticky section. Okay, so just for the purposes of this tutorial, we can put some random text in here as well. So I'll tell you what, I'll just copy this container over. And here we'll just say, in this section, we can just say something like contact or something. So we'll say header 1, that'll do. Okay, so that's pretty much it for HTML. That's all done. So let's move to the CSS now. Actually, what I want to do as well is just get a random font. We'll say Inter font. Inter's a really nice font from Google. Inter, we'll say Google font. Okay, and then when we come in here, we're just going to say here, we'll get the regular one. So I'll get this. Again, copy this HTML link tag here, and then we'll put that into our header. Like so. Again, I'm just going to tab that a bit so it looks smarter. And then we'll also just get the CSS selector here as well. So now what we want to do, I'm going to come to our styles.css. And the first thing we're going to do here is I'm just going to set the margin to 0. We'll set the padding to 0 as well. This just removes all the default margins and paddings that we have. So we're dealing with a blank canvas here, and I'll just say box sizing of border box as well. Okay, and then we're just also going to say font family. I'm just going to paste, just going to paste that in from the Google Fonts website. Now you can see we've got this nice Inter font applied. It looks a lot smarter. Okay, so now the next thing we need to do here is I'm also just going to say what we didn't add actually. Oh no, it's fine. Yeah, just going to set the list style here. So we'll say list style of none. That will remove all the bullet points from our nav bar here. And also, I'm just going to set the font weight as well to 400. just makes it slightly lighter. Okay, so now come underneath this, the next thing we want to do here is I'm just going to say H1, so we'll leave that for now. I'm just going to say section. So we're going to select our section element, and I'm just going to position them all relative. Okay, so we want them all relative, that means they're in the flow of the document. I'm going to give them all a width of 100%, and I'm going to set a min height for each section to be 100 viewport heights. That means it will fill the screen, okay? So you can see now we get that nice kind of spacing. And this hero section will obviously, it'll be like 100. You can see it fills 100% of the screen vertically. Okay, so then come underneath this, let's do our header next. So I'll say dot header. And here we're going to position this absolute. Okay, so this is relative to our section, our first section, this header. So we're positioning this absolutely respective of this section element. Okay, I want to position this at the top 0, left 0. Okay, and then we're going to give this a width of 100%, like so. And then I also just want to give this a height, let's just say a height of 50 pixels, like so. So now if you can see this, if I just do a border bottom here of 1 pixel solid, and we'll just give it a black border, you can see that's where our header section will be. Obviously the content's overflowing at the moment, but we'll sort that out in a second. Next, what we want to do here is display flex. Okay, so this will use flexbox to display the content. Okay, so now you should see in our header, okay, so this will all be displayed flex now. Actually, no, we don't want to do that there. Yes, we do. Sorry, ignore me. Okay, and then what we want to do here is we're just going to say justify the content. I'm going to just make that center, like so. Now you can see our content's gone to the center. And then what I'm also going to do here is just give this a background color of white, like so. Okay, now underneath this, I want to select the header container, which is actually housing our logo and our nav bar. So we'll say dot header, dot underscore container. And here, we're going to use display flex. So now you should see that the content aligns next to each other, or the logo and the nav bar does. And then here also, I'm just going to say align items to the center, and that will center the items vertically, so they're in the middle. Okay, and then also I want to justify content here. We're going to say space between. And that will give us a nice even space in between our nav bar, although we need to sort the width out first. So I'm just going to say actually here we'll give this a width of 90%. Okay, so now you can see we've got that nice space in there. And also I want to set a max width for this container. Okay, so what we're going to do here is say max width 1200 pixels. And why we're doing that is because, for example, if I take this off, no matter how wide our web page is, it will always be, it can go very spread out. So I want this to be kind of centered on larger screens. So in order to do that, I'm just going to set a max width for this container. And then now you'll see when we go up to 1200 pixels, the content will stay more centralized, like so. Okay, so that's what we're doing there. Now, kind of underneath this, our header container, I'm just going to select our nav and our nav. So we'll say nav, and we want to get that unordered list. And then with this, we also want to display this with flex box as well, so the links will go next to each other. You can see that now. And then we also just need to adjust the spacing, obviously. So I'm going to say here, I'm going to give this nav bar a width of 250 pixels. And then I'm just going to, again, justify the content. And we're going to use that space between again. Okay, so now we've got some nice, well, spaced out links. It looks a lot better. Okay, so that's all good. Next thing I want to do here is I'm going to come to our circle container. So say circle, double underscore, spell it right, double underscore container. And then we're going to say here, I want to position this relative again. Okay, and then for this, I'm going to give our circle container, obviously we want it from the top, we want it to be 50 pixels, obviously because our nav bar here is 50 pixels high. So that's what we're doing here. We're making the div start from the top of the screen of 50 pixels. And then I'm going to give this a height. Okay, and we're going to say here, we're going to use the CSS calculator function. We're going to give this 100 viewport height minus 100 pixels, sorry. The reason we're subtracting 100 is because double 50 is obviously 100. So we're subtracting this from here, and then we want 50 pixels from the bottom as well, and that will make it, that you'll see shortly that we get a nice, even height for this div. Okay, and then width, we'll just say 100% to fill the screen. And then I'm also just going to say here a border bottom now of 1 pixel, solid black. Okay, as you can see, this is our circle or our hero container section. Right, okay, now underneath this, let's do our vertical line next. So we'll say vertical _line. And here I'm just going to say position absolute. Okay, and then I'm going to say top 0, left, I want it 50%, so it's halfway, obviously halfway across the screen. I'm going to start it here, so the top 0 of the container, and then left 50%. And then I'm also just going to give this a width of 1 pixel, and then we're going to give it a height, so we'll come under here, give it a height of 100 percent, like so. And then we're just going to say background color here of black. Now you can see there's our vertical line appeared. I'm going to make this slightly opaque as well, so just say opacity of 0.4 just to make it a bit lighter. Okay, so let's do the vertical line, horizontal line, sorry, next. Come underneath here, say horizontal line. And then here, we want to start at the top this time of obviously 50%. I want to give this a width of 100 pixels, 100%, sorry. And then we're going to say, so top 50%, left, 0, we want to start from 0. And this time we want to give it a height of 1 pixel. Okay, and there you go. You can see we've got that nice sort of crosshair now. So next thing I want to do here is I'm just going to get the inner container for this circle. Remember, if we come down here, we had this circle container, and then we had this circle container inner div, which is going to actually house our circles. Okay, so I'll come here, and then we'll come underneath this. I'll just say dot circle container inner, and again, going to position this at absolute relative to the parent div. We'll say top 50%. So we're going to centralize this. Left 50%, and then what we're going to do here is I'm going to transform, and then we're going to translate on the x-axis minus 50%, and I'm going to give this a width of 90%, like so, and then we're going to say a max width again of 1200 pixels. And let's just see what we're dealing with here. So we do a background color of red for now. And I also just want to do a height of 100% as well. Okay, so top 50, that should be 50 pixels, sorry, not 50%. No, I don't think we will need to do that actually, sorry. Yeah, that looks okay, cool. Okay, so this is where obviously our circles will go, and we can see, yeah, it's aligned with the rest of the website. Okay, cool. So now, underneath this, let's get rid of that red. I'm just going to select next. We have obviously these 5 circle elements. So let's just do that now. We'll say dot circle, and here again we're going to position these absolute, like so. I'm going to say transform origin center. This is where our transforms are going to be performed on for each circle. So they're going to go from the center of each circle as opposed to the usual top left. We'll say left 50%, top 50%, and then we just need to transform. Let's just put a semicolon, transform. Let's say translate here, minus 50%, minus 50%, and this will center all the circles to this portion here, the center of our container. Next we want to do here is say a width. I'm going to give this a width of, and we're going to size these circles relative to the viewport width. Okay, so I'm just going to say 32 viewport. The height. So I'm just going to say a width of 32 viewport heights here. Do the same for the height of the circles. So change that to height. And then I'm just going to say here, we'll give these a border of 1 pixel solid black. You can see they're squares at the moment, so let's just adjust that with our border radius. And we'll say 50%. Get a nice circle then. And then I'm also just going to say will change. We're going to say transform, because we're going to be applying transformations on all these circles with our mouse movements, okay? I'm actually going to make this a dashed border. I think it looks a bit better. And you'll see when we do our animation, it looks quite cool. Okay, so next we want to do here, so that's our hero section done. So now let's just do the project sticky section. So say sticky _ section, and here I'm going to position this relative, and then we're going to say a width of 100%, and then I'm going to say display flex, and then also we're just going to justify the content to be center, and then also we're going to say flex direction column. Okay, because we want our projects, that this house is this sticky section here, so that each of these planes to be underneath each other. So that's why I display in flex and then in a column fashion. Okay, so then I'm going to select the plane, each plane. So we say dot plane, and here we're just going to say, I'll say border top, and we're just going to say here 1 pixel solid black. Okay, so now you can see each of our planes have got this this solid black border. I'm going to say obviously display flex here as well. And then we're going to just justify the content to be center. And this will center all the container divs that they house, okay? And then I'm just going to say here background color of white as well. So say background color white, like so. Okay, cool. So next thing we want to do here is I'm just going to let's do our individual planes next. So I'll just say underneath here, we'll say dot plane dot _1, and here we're going to give these position of sticky. Okay, so when we scroll, we want them to stay fixed to the top of the screen. Okay, you'll see the effect I showed you in the demo. It'll basically stick to the screen, and then each one will overlap until we get to the bottom of the third project, and then the rest of the page will continue to scroll. So using position sticky here, and I'm going to say for the first plane, so plane 1, we'll say top of 0, 0, just 0. And what this will do for this project 1, when it gets to the very top of the screen, so 0 pixels from the top of the window, like here it is now, it will stick there. Okay, so that's what that's doing. And then I'm going to give these a height of 100 viewport height, it's the first plane. And then here I'm also just going to say a width of 100%. And then I'm also just going to say a z-index of 0 for this one. Okay, so that's looking good. Next thing we want to do here is the plane 2. Let's come underneath this. I'll just copy this down like so. Again, position sticky. For the plane 2, we want it to stick 50 pixels from the top of the page. Okay, so you can see here now all our projects have gone. So let's just change this to 2. Sorry, 2. You can see now when we scroll that project 1 is sticking, and then this should stick. Project 2 sticks from 50 pixels from the top of the page. So you can see that's what that sticky does. Okay, and then the next thing we want to do here is change the z-index here to 2, so it goes in front of the first plane, And here we're just going to set the height to be 100 viewport height. So we use the CSS calculate function here again, and then we're just going to subtract 50 pixels. Okay, so that's looking okay so far. Let's just do the third plane now. Third plane, and here let's change this to 3, like so. Again, sticky. Make this 100 pixels from the top to stick for the sticking, and then just change that to 100 as well. Okay, so now you can see we're getting those 3 projects stack up against each other. It's quite a nice effect, I think. Okay, so that's looking good. And then we're nearly done with the CSS, guys. I just want to select our containers next. So container, and here I'm just going to say a width of 90%, a height of 100 viewport heights. Okay, and then I'm just going to say here a max width as well of 1200 pixels to align with the rest of the website. So now you can see we're getting that nice kind of central website here. It's looking cool. Okay, and then I just, with the container as well, I'm just going to put some padding top on there as well. So say padding top, and I'll just say 0.8 rem, like so. Okay, and what I'm actually going to do, we can see this text looks quite messy, so I'm going to put those break lines in actually, or yeah, let's just do that now in our HTML. So I'll just say put a break in, tab that across. I'm just going to paste this down for each project, like so. And then I'll also just put that down here as well in our footer container, just for consistency. Now you can see when we scroll up, we get that nice, so that those titles stack up like that. It looks quite cool, I think. Okay, so now I think that's pretty much it for that part. Next one I do, last thing here, sorry, is just get our footer. So I'll just say under here, dot footer. And I'm just going to say, display flex again. And I'm going to say justify content center. And then we'll say a width of 100% and a height of 100 VH. And then we'll just say background color of black. Just give it a bit of variation. Okay, and then the other thing I want to do here, sorry, is just make our font sharp on everything, our text sharp on everything, sorry. So I'm going to come up to the top here. I'm going to just select our H1 elements and our P. I'm going to set the color to white. Let's just do FFF for white. And I'm just going to say mixed blend mode of difference. And now you can see our text will show, and then at the bottom it should appear in white. Okay, so that's pretty much it for our layout. Now let's just go to our JavaScript and we'll get that nice circle animation going for the hero page. Okay, so to do that, let's go to our JavaScript file. So if we come back here into VS Code, open up the app.js. Now the first thing we need to select here in our JavaScript is our circle area. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to say const circle area equals document dot query selector, and we'll just say let's just select it. We want the inner portion of our circle container, so we'll just get this class here, this circle container inner dot circle container inner, like so. And then underneath that, we're just going to next select all of our circles. Okay, so I'm just going to say const circles. Actually, I'll do let circles, sorry, because we're going to adjust this array. Let circles. I'm going to use the spread operator here, and I'm just going to say document dot query selector all, and we're just going to say dot circle. So I'm going to get all of our circles, like so. And then, so I just want to show you, if we console.log, just to show what that spread operator does, circles. what this does, this will just get all of our circle elements and it will put them into an array. Okay, if we didn't use this spread operator, if we just did document.query select all, we would be return node lists, but we don't. We want the actual elements. So I've got that in here. In our console, for example, you can see now we have our array of our 5 circles. Now, we're only going to be performing JavaScript animations on the last 4 circles, so the ones with 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this middle one is going to be static. So I want to remove this from our array. So to do that, so I'm just going to come underneath here. I'm just going to say circles dot shift. Okay, and that will just basically remove the first item from the array. Okay, so now you'll see, unexpected token, move that. You'll now see we've just got the 1, 2, 3, 4 circles, and that first one's been popped off or shifted from the array. Okay, so now come underneath here, I'm just going to say let positions. Okay, and this is going to be an object that's going to contain all the current circle positions for our animations. Okay, so we'll do circle 1. So our first circle, that's going to contain another object containing the x and y coordinates for this circle. So we'll just set them to 0 initially. Okay, and then I'm just going to do this for the remaining 3 circles. So we'll say just change this to 2. 2 and 3 and finally 4, like so. And then that's it for our positions object. I also just want to get the initial width of our viewport and height of our viewport as well. So I'm just going to say let width equal window dot inner width, sorry, and the same for the height. That should be let, and we'll say let height equal window dot inner height, like so. Okay, so that gives the width and height of our screen in pixels. Okay, and then I'm also just going to say for now, let x equal 0, let y equal 0. And this is just going to map our mouse coordinates when we move our mouse in this hero area, this circle area. Okay, so now I come underneath this. Next we want to do here is I'm just going to say window. Actually, we'll do that after. I'm also just going to be using here our lerp function, so linear interpolation, which I've covered in previous videos. This is just going to be used for our animation, okay, to make it look like a nice smooth animation. So say this takes in a start, an end, and a time variable. And the equation to return this is return start times 1 minus the time variable, and we just want to say plus end times that time variable. Okay, so that's our lerp function. I'm then going to add an event listener to our circle area, okay. So dot add event listener, and I want to listen out for the mouse move here, mouse move like so, and then we want to take that event, and then basically what we're going to do with this is we're going to set these x and y coordinates. Okay, so I'm going to say x equals e dot client x and y equals e dot client y. Let's just see if that's working. So I just want to console.log x and y. You can see now we're getting the x and y coordinates logged to the terminal. We see the console, sorry. So if we start at the top left, for example, it's only in this circled area, sorry. Actually, I think what we're going to want to do here. Oh, no, that's fine. It's all good. Okay. Now, what we want to do next, so we're going to do an animate function next, okay? So we're nearly done with this, guys. So function animate, and then here we're just going to animate the circles. Okay, so to do that, we need to first of all adjust our positions in these objects, okay? And that should be positions like so. Spell that right. Okay, so here the first thing we're going to do is just apply the correct positioning for each circle. So we're going to use this lerp function as well. So we'll go to positions first, and then we're going to first select our circle 1 and then the .x position, and that's going to equal, we're going to use this lerp function here, And the first argument it takes in is the starting position, okay? So that will be the current position that it's set to. So here we can just say positions dot circle1, dot x, okay? Now the end is where we want our first circle to animate to. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take the x coordinate that we've got with our mouse, okay? I'm putting this in brackets as well to get our x coordinates, and then we want to subtract, and then I'm going to get a new bracket here. We want to get the width of the page, and we want to divide that by 2, okay? Because basically we want our coordinates to be relative to this central position, so the width divided by 2, the width of the whole page divided by 2, okay? So that's why we're adding that there. And then coming out of here is I just want to times this by 20%, so 0.2. Okay, and this will just make the animation less intense. We only want our circles to move slightly, not like the full width of the page. Okay, and then for the time, we're just going to use 10%. Okay, so it's you'll see what this time variable does in a minute. Basically, the lower the value is, the longer the animation takes. Okay, so let's do the same thing for our Y, for our first circle. Again, we'll change this to Y as well. And then here, we're just going to say Y. Again, and because it's on the Y-axis, we need to change this to the height. Okay, and then that should be it. So now, what we want to do after this is just say, basically, circles. We want to get our first circle. Okay, so we use a 0 index. Dot style. Dot transform equals, and we're going to say translate minus 50%. Remember, because we did that with our initial circle in our CSS. If you go back to our circles here, you can see we actually do transform that already. So that's what we're just doing. We're just adding this translate to make sure it doesn't get skewed. And then the next thing after this will come out. So this is in template literals, by the way. Is we're going to translate 3D as well. Translate 3D, and here we're going to use a template literal. So for our X position, I'm just going to say positions dot circle1. Just bring this out a bit. Dot X, and then we'll say pixels, and then for our Y position, we'll say positions dot circle1 dot Y pixels, and then for the Z we'll just put 0. Okay, so now if I just what we're going to do, we're going to run this animation frame, or this animate function, over and over again using the request animation frame function. If we just run that animate, and then I'll call this animate at the bottom here, you should see now our first circle gets that nice animation. Okay, and it's nice, and you can see the alert function there. It's not linear to the mouse move, it's slightly delayed. Again, we can slow this down just to show you. If I put, for example, 0.01 for the x-axis, you can see how long that takes that slows down the animation. Okay, so we'll change that back to 1. Okay, let's do this for the remainder of our circles now. So I'm just going to say here, let's just copy this down. Change this to, let's just change these 1s to 2s, like so. And then we need some slightly different equations here. So for our second one, we're just saying minus x, okay, and then we want to plus. Again, I worked this out with just trial and error, really. You just need to think about how the circle should move on the x and y axis. Again, we're always doing width divided by 2 here, and that looks right. For the y axis here, we need to do y minus height divided by 2. That looks right for now. So let's just see if that's working. And again, let's just move this down. So here we want to get the second circle in our array. And again, we'll just change this over to a 2. Now let's see what we've got. Now you can see we've got 2 circles running. That's looking good. Okay, cool. So let's just do the remainder now. Again, copy this down. and here we'll just change these to 3, obviously. Okay, and then so the equation for the third one is for the x-axis we're just taking out that minus, and then here we want to subtract minus width divided by 2, and then for the y-axis we're saying minus y here, and then that should be a plus. Okay, again I'm just going to copy this down for each one, so we'll say 2 and 4 and 3, sorry, and here so we'll change this to a 3, and here we'll change this to 4, like so. Okay, so this is C. Okay, so we've got it working for 3 of our circles. Let's just do the 4th one. So again, copy these down, and I'm just going to say here, obviously change these 3s to 4. To select multiple, get multiple cursors, you just use the option key on a Mac. I'm not sure what it is on a Windows, but then you can just type it out 4 times to save time. And then the equation for this one is for x, for the 4th circle, minus x, and then that's going to be a plus, and then I think the y stays as is. Okay, so let's try that now, and now you can see we're getting that really cool, nice animation. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's just like kind of the basic layout of that website I saw from the awards site. I really like this kind of idea they used. Yeah, so it's a good idea to draw from inspiration, and I was just curious to see, how you could implement this with basically just vanilla JavaScript. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.